What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Jika K, and I'm back with another video. Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit different from what I'm always dropping. This video is far more serious than any other video that I have dropped before, because this video is my testimony. This will not be a one-part video, but there will be several parts to this video because I want to actually take my time and walk y'all through the events of my life that have shaped me, the ones that have put a huge dent in my heart, and the ones that have fixed my heart, if there is any, just to be honest. But I know that definitely this video is my testimony, so I'll be talking about a lot of things that have hurt me, but they have ultimately made me a better person. A lot of these events are the reason why I have decided to change my life for the better, because this is my testimony. As I tell my testimony, I hope that I'm able to help many. I hope that many will see this video, and that I will at least reach like one person. It does not have to reach a lot of people. And in this video, I'm not doing this for likes or shares or comments or anything. Like I said, I'm just simply telling my testimony in hopes that I reach someone, anyone that's going through these things or that will go through these things. And also, in this video, when I speak about these things, I am not doing this to damage anyone's character or to bash anyone, but it's just simply the people that have partaken in some of these events in my life. So I don't want to shame anyone. I'm not putting the blame on anybody, and also I'm not trying to bash anyone's character and to have people to look at these people any different, because I am working on forgiving these people. So do not take this video as a video of me bashing anyone, but this is just simply my testimony and me telling y'all about the things that have happened to me in my life. Okay, I firstly want to start by talking about depression, because I have fought depression for a very long time in my life, and I fought depression at a very young age. Whether my depression has been taken serious by anyone, I do not know. I never was taken to a doctor. Coming up, I was a very spoiled girl, and I pretty much had my way. So that's pretty much, one of the reasons for why I act the way I act the way that I did act. But that does not mean, that this is not to be taken serious, because in the midst of, everything, I did realize that I did have some internal issues, and it is very much depression that I was going through, because depression does run on my dad's side of the family. So you know how it kind of is in the black community. Depression is not really taken as serious as it should be. So it kind of was just like something that was brushed under the rug, and people just always told me, oh, you're spoiled, you just can't have your way, so you're falling out. But it was different, because I noticed, like, coming up, I just always have felt sad. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on around me. Of course, as a child, I enjoyed what I could, but I just always felt like a wave of sadness, like a cloud of sadness just always surrounded me as a young child, and growing up, like, just always really sad. I can't really tell you a time when I'm just like, genuinely was happy, even though my face may have shown like in my life, that I was happy, but I can't really tell you like internally that I've just, had a happy life. And it does not have anything to do like with my parents or my upbringing, because that was A1, it was perfect. Like I said, I was spoiled, I pretty much got everything, but it just, that's how I know that it's depression, because like I said, I just always felt sadness. And I know at a very young age I was picked on a lot for being, plus sized or whatever, so that played a huge role in my depression or whatever. And matter of fact, that's how I just realized, like, this sadness was different, because like normally, something happens, you'll eventually like, get over it. Some people it doesn't take long. It probably takes, 10 minutes tops, and that's it. But I noticed like my sadness would last for days. you know, and it affected a lot of things like my mood. You know, it just affected a lot. It was just different. Even though like in life I still carried on and I was still able to, you know, live a normal life because I was what you would call a high functioning depressive type person. Like, it was until I got in my older years where it kind of like would kind of get me down, but I still was like high functioning because I was still like going places and, you know, things like that. But coming up, I faced like a lot of bad days, you know, just not even really wanting to like do life. Like, I can't explain it. I can remember like being so young, and I remember just thinking to myself like, I don't want to be here, you know. And it's crazy because I'm young. I think I probably was about like 6 or 7 when I first, you know, like witnessed that type of feeling or whatever. And I remember it happened right after I had like the worst day at school from like being picked on because of my size. Like, literally I was picked on every day because of my size, and it felt like it was only happening to me. Well, really and truly, it seemed like I was the only plus size girl. Like, to be honest, like I can't really remember anybody my age, you know, that was, you know, coming up, you know, kind of on the chunky side, you know. So I can't really, I'm not gonna say I was the only person, but this is about me. This is, you know, my testimony. But I remember just, you know, like always feeling down because of like being picked on. I've always felt like, you know, kind of like bad about myself. I was picked on so much because, you know, me being fat. And that was always what people, you know, would call me. It was never the big girl. I think I probably would have much rather preferred someone call me chunky or the big girl instead of just, you know, fat. But that's what I was picked on about because I was fat. And that led me to have like low self-esteem as a young girl. My parents would always, you know, show me the most love that they could ever show me. They still continued to spoil me. And like when I would tell them about the things at school, you know, they would tell me just as any other parent would, you know, don't worry about them, you know, just go and get your education, you know, all is well. Just, you know, pay them no mind. As long as they don't touch you, then you're fine. That was always the motto. But like, you know, sometimes it just doesn't get it. Like, they don't have to touch you in order for it to, like, you know, hurt your feelings, because I was indeed hurt. Like, all my life I carried on in life like carrying this, you know, pain because I was plus size, you know, and having low self-esteem. All the girls, you know, my age, they kind of, you know, little, they put their outfits on, they look good, you know, you can see their waistline, they shoes not leaning or whatever, you know. It was kind of challenging growing up as a child because I was plus size, you know. So I won't downplay that. I had it hard growing up in school, but not at home. I faced, you know, some kind of, you know, criticism at home for being plus size, but not really ever like from my mom or my dad, like the immediate household. I might have had, you know, like a few jokes cracked here and there from like people, you know, outside of the household, and, you know, they would kind of like hurt my feelings because, you know, I'm like, we're family, or like, you know, you're my cousin, or, you know, you're my uncle, or you're my auntie, and you're saying things like this, you know. It kind of hurts my feelings. I can't really get back at you because I'm a child and I'm taught to respect my elders, but you're not respecting me. You know, and so things like that will put me in a bad space as well, because I'll never forget, and I won't name names at all in this video because I don't want anybody's character being bashed or anything, because that's not what this video is about. I had a cousin, and this particular cousin would always describe me and my other female cousin as the number 10. My cousin was the number 1 because she was skinny, and I was the 0 because I was fat and I was round. I carried that around in my life for so long. Like, it stayed with me. Like, that has stayed with me my entire life, and it's because, like, it really hurt my feelings. You know, they say when something hurts your feelings, it replays over and over in your head. And that was one of the things, you know, that kind of, you know, hurt my feelings, because I'm like, dang, that's crazy. The number 10 and I'm the 0 because I'm fat. That's kind of harsh, you know, kind of like, you know, say to a family member. And then I just couldn't really even help but to notice, like, I just was treated differently. Like, cousins and, you know, family members and stuff like that, like, they were always, you know, laughing at me because I was very outgoing and I had a big personality. Like, I was not quiet, and I can't help that. Like, I've always had a big personality. We'll be at, you know, the family gatherings, and I liked it to dance, you know, even though, like I said, I've struggled with depression, but I've always been like a high functioning, you know, depression type person. But as a child, I was very, like, giddy. I had a big personality, and everybody knew it. At the cookouts, I'm the one that's outgoing. I'm dancing, you know, just having a good time. And I always felt different because, like, my older male cousins, they treated me differently than they did from my other female cousin. Me and her, we was like this because we were like the same age or whatever. They always picked on me because I was larger. I never really seen them pick at her or, like, you know, even terrorize her or anything like that. I never really seen them do much to her, but I just always caught a lot of the backlash for some reason, because I guess because I was, you know, not shy and I had a big personality. But I was never the type to even really bother anybody, but I just always got picked on no matter where I went, school or, you know, home or something like that. But yeah, like, there's a lot of things in my life that contribute to, like, my depression. You know, I know that being plus size was definitely one of them, and, you know, being picked on because of that, you know, contribute to, like, the sadness that I've always felt in life. But anything else outside of that, I can't even really say why I was always just so sad, because life was good, you know. I didn't grow up in a home, you know, where I was beaten or starved or anything like that, which is what makes this depression, like, you know, so crazy. And that's how I just know that I was fighting depression, because life was good, but I was fighting, like, mentally to be here, you know, and to want to be here. I remember, like, on my good days, everything was good. On my bad days, things were bad. Like, if somebody would upset me or something like that, I noticed my sadness would not fare off. It stayed. And as I got older, I started noticing, like, my sadness started getting worse. Like, I was no longer, like, you know, kind of going on about my day. I started, like, shutting myself in the room, you know, type things like that. And, you know, kind of like not eating, even though that really didn't work because I was still, you know, plus size. But still, that doesn't stop the fact that, you know, my depression was so bad that I would literally, like, just completely shut down or whatever. But yeah, like, my depression, it was just terrible because, you know, some people be like, well, what type of past did you have? Like, what type of parents did you have? How did you grow up? That has a lot to do with it. But I've always had good parents, and they have always spoiled me and my sister, you know, or whatever. So my sister, she has always treated me well. Now, I admit we have not always had the closest, you know, relationship because we have like a 6-year age gap in between us. And coming up, she didn't really spend, like, you know, a lot of time with me. But, you know, we're not talking about that because she was young. She was a teenager who wants to go, you know, enjoy their life and, you know, have to have their little sister following them around all the time. But every now and then, you know, she would let me go, you know, places with her. But that was not really, like, you know, a cause for, like, my sadness that I had. Again, that's why I just always been so, you know, perplexed about my depression. Like, where does it come from? But over time, like, just growing up and just observing both sides of the family, I started realizing that my depression came from my dad's side of the family. Because I would hear him say, you know, like, certain things about some of the family members on his side. You know, he would be like, oh, well, you know, such and such is not doing well today and she won't come out of the room. And, you know, so I started noticing like a lot of, you know, stuff like that was happening, like, you know, on my side of my dad's family. And I'm just like, you know, as I got older, I started taking that in mind. I'm just like, could I have possibly taken up the trait of depression as well, just like everybody else on his side of the family? And it was very much so. But I don't really think that they really classified it as depression. I think they just really took it as, you know, having a bad day. Because, you know, like, I don't think any of them, like, really was on any kind of medication. And neither was I, because, you know, every time I would get down, you know, my parents still always tell me, you know, everything's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. You know, long as nobody don't touch you. Again, like I said, that was the motto or whatever. But sometimes, like I said, you don't have to be touched to realize that in this situation, you need to get somebody some help, because, you know, they're not able to regulate their feelings or their moods. And that was what was going on with me or whatever. But I don't even really think that my parents paid it, you know, much attention. They pretty much passed it off as, you know, just having a tantrum or fit because I was spoiled. And, you know, maybe just a little bit. It was, you know, just, you know, a little bit, because, you know, if I can't have my way, that's, you know, I would also have like episodes where I would just, you know, like be super sad or whatever. So, you know, maybe just a little bit. We won't just completely rule, you know, that out or whatever. But yeah, I pretty much always struggled with depression, like real bad. Like, I'm talking real bad. Never got to a point where I, you know, wanted to, never got to a point where I've tried to, attempt suicide, maybe once. Self-harm, cutting myself, like, you know, just abusing myself. Yeah, I can remember, you know, a time or two. Because it was just like some stuff was just unbearable. And I didn't really understand why I was like that. Like, I could literally like think myself into a bad mood as well, like, you know, coming up. And it was also like the smallest things that would, you know, upset me as well. And I would just, you know, like lose it. I was never violent, you know, never violent. Sad, yes. You know, it didn't take anything for me to just go off and just, you know, be down and be sad. I can remember like coming up when I would go, like when my mama would tell me no or something like that, something go wrong, and I would get sad and I would hang my head down low like this. And I would walk off with my head down. And she would always say, you need to get on somewhere acting like Hey Arnold. Because y'all know, I don't know if y'all don't know the show, like, it's called Hey Arnold. And then when he would be sad, he would just, you know, hang his head low. Like, you would know he was sad. So that was like one of the things that I would do. So she used to be like, you know, you need to go ahead on acting like Hey Arnold. But I was not acting like Hey Arnold. I was genuinely hurt. Like, internally, I was going through some things, you know, things that I could not put into perspective, because how do you tell somebody that you're sad but you have, you know, a good life? You know, you have clothes, you have food, you have water, you have always gotten everything that you wanted, like, throughout the year and Christmas. Like, how do you tell somebody that you're just sad? Sad for what? Y'all see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's kind of like I never received any help from, you know, what I felt. I had to go all these years feeling these things and really, you know, just can't, you know, tell nobody what's going on with me, because, like I said, life done always been good for me, but I just have always felt sad, y'all. I've always felt sad. And it's so crazy because, like, probably now people, you know, they probably at this store like, she's always felt sad. But every time I see her, she's always, you know, smiling and, you know, and laughing and dancing. In school, I was very active, like, you know, on teams, you know, especially once I got older, like, especially in high school, where, you know, like, fat shaming kind of, like, slowed down a little. But, oh, don't tick nobody off because now you're a fat, you know what, or, you know, some guys, they come in feeling a little frisky. They want to just crack jokes. They just want to single me out and, you know, crack jokes on me, you know, and stuff like that. Which brings me to a time in middle school. God bless the dead, Lord. God bless the dead, because he is no longer here. But, and I'm not even going to say a name, but I remember he picked on me so bad one day at school that I actually ran away from school. Like, I ran out the back door and I ran away. I ran away from the school, and it was so crazy because like my teacher, like once I was like about to turn from the stop sign, because like the school was close to the stop sign and there was this back road like to some woods. As soon as I was about to turn off and like run into the woods, my teacher was like, Frederica, get back here, I'm gonna call your parents or whatever. So they called my parents anyway, you know. So that didn't do a bit of good. So, but once she said, you know, she was going to call my parents, I turned around because I'm just like, please don't call them, because, you know, they're not going to understand. They're going to be like, you know, we done told you, people going to talk all day. As long as they don't touch you, they ain't got to touch me. I'm still hurt. I'm hurt deeply. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, people are sitting in this room and they're laughing. Like, their sides are hurting because they're laughing so hard, and they're picking, like they're laughing at me, you know. I can see this happen to like multiple people, but I'm the laughing stock of the class. And why? I don't know. Why was I always picked on? I don't know. And you know, some people be like, well, you must have been doing something to these people. Never. Like I put this on my daughter, and I don't even do this often, but I never, like, anytime I've been picked on, I never bother these people, or I never started with them, because I was not the type to be like that. I'm a very humble person. I'm very kind. I'll help anyone. Like, coming up, I was very sweet. I was not the aggressive type. I was never the angry type. That's why I told y'all, like, you know, I can't say I've had anger issues, but it's kind of like, you know, some, because I don't spaz, you know, and freak out on people and get angry. I kind of lose it and get sad and, like, you know, shut down, and I don't really want to listen to people, and I just kind of go, you know, into a shell, and I get depressed. Like, you know, and it gets bad, like real bad, y'all. And yeah, so my depression has been pretty bad, you know, and on top of all the things I have faced in life, it just kind of like made it a little, you know, bit worse, you know, especially being picked on for being plus size. Just a whole bunch of, you know, some people be like, oh, that's nonsense. But when you're a young girl and you're coming up in this world and your self-esteem is low, you're feeling sad and you don't know why, because you've always had a good life, you know, that's hard, you know. So that kind of led me to be, you know, even more sad, you know, being that I was not understood too, you know, and always being called spoiled when I'm knowing that's not what's wrong with me. You know, and also the lack of, you know, knowledge and vocabulary. How was I able to tell somebody that, you know, I just feel sad and I don't know why, you know? So yeah, that was kind of hard for me. But now that I feel like I've kind of like expressed to y'all like how my depression is, I think I can kind of like go on to like other events in my life. So give me a chance to get my thoughts together. Oh, almost fell. That was close. Alright, so this was part one of me like explaining my depression. I don't really want to like overwhelm myself as I'm telling my testimony, because I don't want to like leave out anything and then just have to go backwards. Like, there may be times where I may have to go backwards with, like, you know, speaking this, because it is a lot, but I just thoroughly want y'all to understand, you know, me, so that you can like understand these events that I'm about to speak on. And also, I don't want to overwhelm myself, because like I said, some of this stuff happened like so long ago, so I'm trying to remember it, and I'm trying not to you know, leave out, you know, everything that shapes the story and what makes this my testimony. So yeah, I'm gonna end this first part right here. This part was me speaking about my depression and telling you guys how bad depression is for me, and how I have always fought for my life when it came down to depression. Like, I have always fought for my life when it came down to depression, because a lot of people, they, you know, they see my content and they're just like, dang, you know, when she lost her daughter, it made her, you know, like, you know, it took her sadness. That was one of the things that took my sadness, you know, and kind of like made this thing hard for me. But I have always had to like fight to be here on earth. If nobody took it serious back then, I'm sure they know now, like, it is indeed a thing. And not saying they take it serious because I want attention, but you know, like I said, coming up, everybody always felt like, oh, she just spoiled, she can't have her way, that's why she cutting up like this. But no. So I'm gonna end this video right here, and I'm gonna sleep on this, and I'm gonna come back and y'all will have part 2. See you later, nines. If you're feeling this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.